So, what a week. This week has been full of emotions for me. I've been wondering if I should actually do this video or not, since, as you guys know, the channel has been pretty dormant for the last couple of months because I've been so busy with the new job, but I'm gonna start making videos again very soon. For sure. I'm actually working on a few now, so you guys can rest assured that I'm gonna come back. But before I do all that, I think all this stuff going on with the news about the rioting, about the George Floyd rioting, has really struck a chord with me in a big way. And the reason why is because I was raised with a lot of racism, a lot of inequality. After speaking with my fiance about the situation right now with the world, how she feels as a white person, how I feel as a black person, and how do we actually see this thing going around the world, I thought it was only right for me to actually make this video. There's something to be said about, from a white perspective, perhaps you haven't really experienced any form of racism, and you don't know exactly how that goes. And for all my brothers and sisters, I think that me sharing my story hopefully will inspire some of you to kind of follow in my footsteps, and genuinely, if I made it, anyone can make it. The reason why I started this YouTube channel is because I genuinely believe that, and by giving you guys a little bit of background story, I think you guys are going to realize that quite quickly. So let me start by telling you guys exactly what my roots are from. So my parents, both mother and father, here they are. This is my mother, my father, and me. Cute, right? So they came from tropical islands in the middle of the Atlantic called Cape Verde, a country where there's virtually no racism because there's people of all shades. But when you look at this picture of my father and my mother, this is one of the rare moments that we actually spent together, because the reality of it is much uglier. I was given away when I was about 2.5 months old to the nurse that actually gave birth to me to take care of. And I was raised all my life as if I was a foster kid, jumping from place to place. I actually was born in Portugal, and I lived in Lisbon. This lady, for good or for bad, she used to actually beat me up a lot. She was a black lady, black family, and I saw at an early age the ugliness of that. Now, on the positive side, my neighbors upstairs, there was 2 kids, they were my age, they were also black, and they were my best friends. And the reason why we connected so much is because they were adopted, and their parents were white. And we just connected because both of us didn't have parents around, so we just connected so well. But the reality was very much different than mine. I was kind of mistreated quite a bit growing up, while they had a lot of sweetness, a lot of love from their white parents. So now, a few years later, enter my neighbors downstairs, a family, a white family. And then I finally started to actually get really close with the person that I call my adoptive father, Carlos. And he is me and Carlos, a picture taken a few years back. Carlos is white, and whenever I talk about Carlos, I genuinely don't see any color. So much so that I used to tell stories about Carlos to Camille, my fiance, for many years. And then finally Camille met Carlos in Portugal one of the trips that we went back. And she was incredibly surprised because all along she thought Carlos was black. So she actually got a massive surprise. Going back to the friends that I was telling you about, the best friends, my black friends. Even though we all received racism at an early age, we all got called names, we were told several times, go back to your land, even though we're all born in Portugal, Portuguese just like everyone else. And we felt very much like outsiders. We used to talk about it a lot as well, and that's why we decided to stay together. So that was the early days of my life. I spent about 9 years there. Even though I never lived with my father and my mother decided to take me off that lady's house, take me to Spain. I was fully thinking that things were going to be better in terms of race inequality in Spain. the reality of it was actually the opposite. I used to actually get into fights pretty much every day. And the fights were always related to either me receiving inequality or racism, or my friends receiving it. And it was not fights because I wanted to fight. It was always to either defend myself or to defend my friends. And it was exhausting, I remember perfectly. It was incredibly exhausting. I remember one day to see this girl, this little girl, very dark-skinned, being thrown around by this group of white kids and being called little shit. And that marked me. I had to go and defend her, got into a lot of trouble. And yeah, some things that you actually never forget. Now, at around 19 years old, I was incredibly exhausted. A lot of things happened, and I really wanted to be an artist. And I remember perfectly thinking, if I actually stay here in Portugal or Spain, I will never be able to make it. And the reason why is because I was black. That's basically the easiest way I can say it. It's that. It's like, I can be the best artist ever, but there's a lot of family and friends and a lot of just people that know people that get you into places. And if you're black, if you come from a minority, if you are poor, if you're broke, like I was, then you don't know anyone. And if you don't know anyone, even if you actually have an opportunity to go for an interview for a job, 9 times out of 10 you won't get it. And it has happened to my friends over there, and I heard so many stories, and to me it was like, I need to move away from here because I want to make something of myself, and here is not going to happen because I'm now dealing with injustice, and people will judge me just by the shade of my skin as soon as I get into an interview, as soon as I get into anywhere. So I decided to go to England, because to me England perhaps would be much more equal and fair. What I found was exactly that as soon as I stepped in here. Bear in mind, when I came to England, I was really broke. I have very little money with me, and I came with one-way ticket. I didn't even have a return ticket. I just had to actually get out of there, and I was desperate. 19 years old, and I had to just move on. So I had an incredible tough time in London. But what I saw inspired me so much. The first time that I jumped into a bus, I saw a black bus driver. And just that, it was so inspiring to see, just so you understand how low my bar was when it comes to black people achieving stuff. I remember telling him respect. He looked at me like I was weird. And for me, it was like, I don't even know anyone in my family and my friends that actually made it to be a bus driver. I didn't quite realize it until then. And then the longer I actually lived in England, the more I realized that there's people on TV like me, there's cops like me, this society wants to make black people the same as everyone. Don't get me wrong, England, the UK, obviously has racism like everywhere else. And is not perfect in any ways, but in comparison to what I've lived before, it was a dream. It was a dream. Even when I didn't have food to eat for a week, I always felt like if I was going to make it, it was going to be here. That's kind of how I felt. I felt like this country has all the opportunities, people can actually go anywhere, and there's no discrimination to the point of like people don't allow you to get to a job because of your skin color. And I loved that, and I felt like whatever it takes, I have to make it. I have to actually work hard, study hard, and make it somehow. The first job that I got professionally was in 2008. And I thought, this is it. I'm sorted. I didn't even think about racism or about inequality in games. I just thought, this is it. I'm pretty sure there's many black people in there. I'm pretty sure there's people that actually know each other, and it's going to be great. No problem. And to be fair, the first company that I worked in, which is now defunct, Eurocom, right at the beginning, they treated me really well. There was no problems. But there was only 2 black guys in a company that had about maybe 400 people, maybe more, at its height. And that always kind of felt slightly odd to me. And that is true nowadays as well. So just for all the black animators out there that want to make it in the industry, normally I'm either the only one or there's about 2 or 3 more, but there's not much more normally in each company. So in this first company, that was my reality check of like what is going on. Thankfully, my other black brother in the company, Sid, he was like a brother for real for me. He took me through the ropes in the industry, told me like what to look out for and all that good stuff. I'm incredibly appreciative of Sid for kind of showing me the ropes when it comes to this industry. But towards the end, after 2.5 years working in the company, I suffered something that got me thinking that racism exists everywhere and definitely exists in games as well. So, you know, many years later, I've been through many companies, and even though I haven't really experienced racism since then, at least that I know of, the same thing is true in every company. There's only very few people that are black in every games company that I've been. There's only a few of us. You can count it with one hand. I never had more than about 4 or 5 people that were black in any one company. I kind of feel that you shouldn't really give a job to someone because of their skin color. But I don't quite understand why there's not many more black people in games. And I think there's something to be said about big companies, AAA companies, going to these places and giving people an opportunity, or perhaps telling them like, here's a scholarship or 2, we believe in your talent, and just like scout people. Because there's one experience in particular that I had when I was back in Portugal. This teacher from the University of Surrey, arts teacher, she actually saw my illustrations online. At that point it was DeviantArt, a long time ago, and she basically contacted me and said, Harvey, like, you are very talented, why don't you apply to our university? I'm pretty sure you'll make it if you're interested in our arts course. And that was the very first time ever that someone outside of my circle told me that I was talented, and someone saw something in me that I couldn't really see myself. And to me, that counted more than anything. And it gave me an incredibly huge boost for me to be like, maybe I can make it. And that was the only reason and main reason that I decided to come to England to then actually study and make something of myself. I ended up not going to the University of Surrey, and the only reason was because I couldn't really afford the fees and the books. But I thought, even though I'm broke, I have just pocket change and a ticket, I should go to England, because if someone over there saw my talent once, maybe someone else will once I'm ready to study and actually take a plunge into some industry, in this case the games industry. So if you fast forward to now, the present, I work at Build a Rocket Boy, which is an upcoming company, and I have to say, like, the future is really bright. I really hope there's so many more black people, brothers and sisters, that actually join the games industry, because having diversity, there's nothing better than that. It always makes me feel much more at home whenever there's a black person working with me and I can actually share with them and talk to them and all that good stuff. And I have to say a big thanks to Build a Rocket Boy for hiring me first and foremost, but more specifically to Leslie Benzies, which is the founder of the company, because for the first time in a long time, I felt like someone saw in me something that I couldn't see in myself. And it was this animation director role that I was pursuing for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, that I was thinking maybe I'm ready for it. And the fact that they actually kind of thought that I was the best person for the job, even though they interviewed quite many more than myself, obviously, they decided to give me the job. And I'm pretty sure it's because they saw something in me that I couldn't see myself, just like the same thing that happened all the way back. And something that Marquez said, like, really resonated with me. And as a black person, because you're black, whenever you make it, first, you feel a sense of exclusivity because you're one of the few that made it. And second, you kind of wonder, did they give me the job because I'm black and they need the numbers? They need to have enough women, enough black people in the company in order to actually make it equal, make it better. And that feeling is always on the back of your mind, no matter how much you achieve. But it's something that I decided to ignore because I genuinely feel that I'm good at my job. I genuinely feel that I actually got the job fairly. Not only this job specifically, but every single job in the past. So this video is supposed to hopefully inspire some of you out there. To all my brothers and sisters that want to get into the games industry, they want to become animators, I truly believe that you guys can do it. This industry is incredible. I recommend anyone to actually work hard to make it over here. And I hope some of you out there are actually working hard right now to make your dream come true. Now, to all my white brothers and white sisters out there, same thing. I love you all, and I hope that you guys can actually join us in this conversation. This is not so much like black people supporting other black people. Is basically all nations, all races supporting black people in order to actually lift us up to your level and to give us the same opportunities that you have. So whatever you can do to help out will be great. There's been rhetoric right now that all lives matter, but in reality right now we need to put a highlight on Black Lives Matter. That's the only way they will actually be able to raise concerns and to make sure that everyone is equal in society's eyes. I always witnessed and saw that black people have it tougher than anyone else, and that is my reality. So when you look at me, most likely you think that I just had it easy and had parents that loved me and was raised in a nice house and most likely finished uni and started working and all that good stuff, when nothing can be further from the truth. I don't want my daughter to actually be raised in a world that she needs to get used to actually being, to feeling racism, to actually be treated differently because of her, the shade of her skin. It feels unfair. Everyone, no matter what color you are, you should be judged by this. How smart you are, your personality. It should be the stuff that actually goes further than just skin. It should be the stuff that is inside of you, what kind of person you are. So I just hope that someone out there sees this, and not only they get inspired, but they also see that there's problems in the games industry as well. There's problems in the animation industry, and I hope we can actually sort them out. I hope that we can overcome them and we can be more equal in work. And I hope the society that you see when you go out in the streets and that you see so much diversity, I hope that gets reflected in whatever work, whatever place you actually are in. I would like to leave down below some black animators, some black game creators, and some black YouTubers that I admire a lot. And please go and check the links down below. I think they all deserve your attention, but only follow them and only genuinely go and give them appreciation if you really appreciate their job, not because of the skin color. Once again, just go and just judge them for their work and just yeah, check them out. I think we all need to actually support each other a lot in these times, and stay strong. Stay strong, because I know that this is affecting everyone, black or white, and I hope things get better real soon. Unfortunately, I'm a believer that before things get better, they have to get worse. So I think that we're actually hitting that peak of being bad. 2020 hasn't been easy for anyone, and we get into that peak now that I think this will genuinely move things. It will move the needle when it comes to racial relationships, when it comes to dealing with black people, dealing with white people, and those barriers that have been erected for centuries. I feel like this will change it. Yeah, I think that's all I had to say for this video. Tough times, not easy for anyone. I will always remember this, and this is a form for me to actually be able to come back and watch this video later on in a few years and be able to reminisce on how tough this all was. So yeah, stay safe out there, stay strong, and I shall see you in the next video. Until then, peace.